Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, we'll be looking at this Bubu style, this cowl Bubu with a neckline detail. So I got 2 yards of a cut lace, okay, and that's what I'll be using. So just so I'll be sure I'm using the same thing, so I'm dividing this into two. That means for the front panel, I'll be using about 1 1/4 yard. Same for the back. Now because of the neckline detail, I'll need to take out what I'll be using for that neckline. So now the hem of the sleeves has some part that is longer and the other part that is lower. So from the lower point, I'm measuring 3.5 inches. That's what I'll be using to place the neck. So connecting the dots that I have marked, I will then cut it out and keep it aside. So I'll use it for the neckline. After cutting it out, whatever is left will be my gown length. So I measured it from that point all the way to the hem of the fabric. Okay, the length of the fabric, I had 45 inches, and that will be the length of the gown. So now for the part I cut out, that will be the start point for my vertical measurement, and I'll measure downwards the half length of 16 inches, and from there I'm measuring the hip line, and then I'll measure the knee. And like I said, the length of what I have left of this lace is the length of the dress. So after marking the half length, hip line, and the knee line, I'll simply draw them out as lines so they serve as guide. So drawing out the knee line, the hip line, and then I'll draw out the half length. So these lines are just as guides, okay? It's a cowl dress, so more like it will not have to do the shaping. Moving to the shoulder, what I have on this fabric is 20 inches. So I'll simply mark out my shoulder measurement, and whatever I have left will be for the sleeve length. Now when you're taking this measurement, you measure from your mid back to your desired sleeve length. And from the sleeve length, the opening will get to the half length, and from that half length, I'm simply going to create a cowl to my knee line. Now on my knee line, I marked 1/4 of my hip circumference plus the seam allowance, and that's what I will use to create the cowl from the half length all the way to that knee line. So on my hem, that's the gown length, I'm placing the same thing I have on my knees, so we'll have easy movement while you're wearing the dress. So I'll simply connect what I have on the knee line to the gown length on a straight line, okay? We are done with that, and because I want to slope my shoulder, I'm using 1.5 inches. I'll connect it to where I have my shoulder measurement. Now I'm using my shoulder measurement as my neckline because for the style, it goes that way. I'll simply cut this out, and I'll cut out from the gown length the cowl shape to the half length. Now for the neckline, I'm measuring downwards 9 inches, and I'll connect that to meet the shoulder measurement that I had marked already. Half of my shoulder measurement is 8 inches, so I'll connect that to meet with the neck depth that I've marked which is 9 inches. Cutting that out and notching my sleeve opening, I will then place it on the other fabric that I have left. I divided it into two. So I will have the back panel. I'm cutting exactly what I have for the front panel. I'm cutting the same thing for the back panel. Taking out my notches, and then we work on the neckline. So for the neckline, remember that part I cut out. I'm simply just tucking it in, making sure that it gets into the V part of the neckline to the other side. Now I'm working with 1/2 inch all the way around because we don't need too much outside, so it will be easy for us to control the excess. Okay, so I'm simply tucking it in with 1/2 inch. It means the neckline on the dress overlay on this trimming part with 1/2 inch. So now after that, I'll simply connect it to meet the shoulder slope and cut it out. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now you have to tuck it in to meet the other corner. Okay, from that V part, you're tucking it in and it has 1/2 inch on the other side, so it will overlay well. And when I'm done with that, I'll connect it again to meet this other shoulder slope. Okay, so they will align, and then cut it out. I'll do the same thing to the other panel. Okay, because the beauty about this dress is the front and the back is exactly the same thing, so you can wear either way. So when I'm done with placing this neckline, I'll use a white bias to follow that part which I've placed the neck trimming. All right, just to cover the excess. We didn't sew it inwards, just to cover that part. So we'll be using this white bias. And when I'm done with it, like this is what it looks like. So I'll turn it right side facing the right side. Okay, right side facing right side, and I'll stitch it at the shoulder. Now you need to align it properly. That part that we have the bias has to align with the one we have on the other panel. Okay, now I'll use 1/2 inch to stitch the shoulder. Give it a good press, and this is it. So for the sleeve opening, remember we worked with the half length, okay, and then we have our shoulder slope. So I'll be working with the part that I already have a chalk. Measuring from the shoulder to my half length, I have 14 inches. And I'll measure the same way this other side, because of course the sleeve opening has to be the same thing. So I have 14 inches on this other side as well. Now I'll use a white bias to turn this part. Okay, I'll turn it and give it a good press before we now take out our seam allowance. Turning it with the bias, this is what it looks like, and I'll simply take out the seam allowance, bring them together, right side facing right side, and I'll take out the seam allowance of 1 inch that I added, okay, all the way from that sleeve opening to the hem. And I'll do the same thing to the other side, and this is what it looks like on me. Okay, so if this video adds any value to you at all, please give me a thumbs up, like and share. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.